So in this movie, a woman dresses like a man. Her dream is to become a journalist. So then she's in journalism class. The journalism teacher announces that there's a contest, and the best article will be printed in the newspaper, and you'll get an internship at the big newspaper in town. She really wants that. She doesn't get picked as one of the finalists for the internship. So she's waiting in the office to ask the journalism teacher about it. And the two old guys are coming in, two of the teachers, and they're like, have you seen Terry? Her name's Terry, which is fun because it goes both ways.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, did you see Terry today? Her legs? Hachi monkey. They're like, we should flunk her just to keep her in high school.
Oh, shit, dude.
She overhears them, and then the guy walks in. He's like, oh, hey, look what it is. And she's like, why didn't you pick my thing? And he's like, well, you're just, it's okay, but you're just not that good at journalism.
Oh.
Like, this just isn't good.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you do something else? Why don't you be a model? And she's like, oh, I see. A pretty girl can also be good at something. And he's like, yeah, I guess basically. And she's like, well, I'll show all of you. And she storms out. In the whole movie, their parents are out of town, and they've got this big house, and she has this little brother. She rings the doorbell, dressed like a guy, and she fools him. She's like, I'm going to be a guy. I'm going to go to the other high school as a guy. I guess there are two high schools, and they're both in the journalism contest. So she's going to try to, as a guy, submit her article. She's like, teach me how to be a guy. She like puts a sock in her jeans. He's like, how do guys act? And he teaches her how to act like a guy, but he just makes it a black guy. He's like, hey, baby, what it is? He's like, all guys do this. Hey, baby, what it be? What it is?
Oh, shit.
He does the Indian pimp from Bachelor Party. What it do, baby? And then we cut to her, short hair, sunglasses, in the new high school. So she shows up as a guy, and she just looks exactly like Ralph Macchio.
Okay.
Like, it's wild. And the girl, they show this pretty girl, and she goes like, oh, that guy's so hot. He looks just like the Karate Kid.
All right.
Then the bad guy in the movie we see is the bad guy from the Karate Kid. It's weird. Yeah. And so this guy, the Cobra Kai guy, so she's going to the other high school, and he's the bully of this other high school, and he's like, you look like a pussy. You're very ladylike. I hate you. And he like throws her into the bushes. And then she meets Rick. He seems cool, but he's kind of a loner because we find out he moves schools a lot. So then there's a scene where she goes to the bathroom, but she has to go to the boys' bathroom. And she's like, she sees the urinals, and she's like, what are those?
Oh, come on.
She's like, oh boy. She's like, well, I can't use the urinal. And I guess you can't use a stall? I guess she doesn't want to lie about pooping. She goes to the stall, and she's like, I'm taking this shit, baby. What it is. Man, this shit be a motherfucker, baby. So then she's like, okay, here's my plan. I just got to look like a guy, show them my article at this new school. They'll realize how brilliant I am. And then the journalism teacher at that school is like, yeah, this isn't good.
Oh, shit.
Twist.
Dude.
He's like, this sounds like a lady wrote it. So then she's back with her best friend and her brother, and she's like, okay, so that article was bad, but she's like, I think there's a story here. What's it like to be a boy? I'll write about that. I'll pretend to be a boy. Just at one point, a girl's earring breaks, and she's like, oh, I know how to fix that.
That's it?
That's pretty much the only time that her being a woman really comes up. Okay. This is her feminine knowledge.
All right.
Like, what if she was like, I've started bleeding out of my vagina. And she's like, oh, that's your period. And she'd be like, my period, eh? That black guy's got some good ideas. Hey, baby. What it is, baby? You on your period and shit, baby. So she eats with Rick. She hangs out with Rick. They're bonding. She buys him new clothes. Oh. She dresses him up in her love.
Okay. Oh.
All over his body.
Oh.
It's a Madonna song.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what was going on.
Now he's so confident, our buddy Rick asks out Deborah, the popular girl who's dating the bully, and she says yes. But he's like, I'll only go to prom if you go with me, Terry. And then so Terry's like, well, I need a date. So she asks her best friend to go with her to pretend to be her date. And she's getting ready to go out with her boyfriend. But then the girl from the other high school who thought she looked like the Karate Kid, she comes in. Oh. And then the girl takes her shirt off. And she's like, I'll be right back. And then she goes downstairs, and her boyfriend's there to pick her up. And she says to her little brother, she's like, look, there's a girl up in your room.
What?
Just go get her.
That's crazy.
I think she's ready to go, man. Just go up there and get her.
Like, they think literally turning a woman on is like turning her on like a switch. Like, all right, as long as somebody gets her horny, anybody can have sex with her.
Which is funny because that is how we work. If a woman woman you were going to sleep with said, I got to get out of here. This is my friend Tina. She'll be servicing you tonight. That's just polite, really. That really is just polite.
Right.
So now she's going to go to prom with her best friend. And then the guy she actually likes is going to go to prom with Deborah, the most popular girl in school. Now we're at the 80s prom. It's on the beach. There's an 80s band. Reptile guy's there.
Nice.
So then the boyfriend shows up. He's like, I know something's going on. The boyfriend shows up to the house, gets the little brother to tell him where Terry is. Now he's headed to the prom. Rick is dating the bully's ex-girlfriend. The bully comes up, punches Rick. And then Terry jumps on Rick's back because he does fight like a girl. And then the bully throws Terry into the ocean. Now the brother and the boyfriend show up. The boyfriend still doesn't know what's going on, but the brother's like, that's my sister. Now the brother jumps on the bully's back to defend his sister. But now Rick has composed himself. Now Rick starts punching the bully. Rick defeats the bully. He falls into a table of food.
Great.
Possibly dead. He doesn't move. We're like, hooray! And then the boyfriend walks up. Now Terry's coming out of the ocean. And he's like, what's going on here? And Rick says, who are you? And the boyfriend says, I'm Terry's boyfriend. And Rick's like, oh. And then Terry's like, I don't love you anymore, boyfriend. I'm in love with somebody else. And then she's like, Rick, I need to talk to you in the bushes.
Oh.
Well, they're kind of, I guess it's kind of a tropical theme.
Okay.
They're just off to the side somewhere. And she's like, you don't understand, Rick. I got to talk to you. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I get it. You're gay. And she's like, no, I'm not gay. And he's like, well, now I am confused. And she says, I'm a girl. Oh. And he says, yeah, right. And I'm Cyndi Lauper.
Lauper?
He says Lauper. Lauper? And then she, one of the biggest moments of the 80s, opens up her tuxedo front, amazing boobs. And he's like, what are those? Or he says, where'd you get those? Because you can imagine if, like, your buddy just whipped out his amazing tits. You'd be like, I have a lot to think about now. I don't know how to feel. And then he's like, you lied to me. He's like, I got to get out of here. And then she kind of follows him and she kisses him, still dressed as a man. And as soon as she kisses him, like, the music stops.
What?
And everyone goes, ugh. Oh, what? Yeah, because it's an 80s prom. They're like, this is weirder than the lizard guy. They saw two men kiss. Okay. And they shut the prom down. Yeah. And then Rick goes, it's okay, everybody. He's got tits. And then she leaves. It's like she is using her beauty to her advantage. She was trying to make him fall in love with her. Because there's other ways she could have revealed. Like, she could have showed him her ID. I mean, this is gross, but, like, a queef is very specific. That's a very specific sound. She could have been like, I'm a woman. And he's like, no, you're not. And she's just like... And he'd be like, I stand corrected. But see, then he wouldn't have fallen in love. You don't fall in love after that. You go like, ew, you're okay, I believe you, and gross. She could have done that thing where you, like, pick up a chair from behind. There's, like, certain physical things. Like, you get on your elbows and you stand up that way or something. There's, like, things that only women can do, like, physically. Okay, now she's crying and she's writing her thing. Apparently it's very now she's back at the school where she's a girl again and she's popular. Okay. Everyone loves her. And people come up to her and they're like, hey, I heard how great your tits are. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Oh, and then she has to go to her. Then she goes to the guy, the original journalism teacher who rejected her. And he's like, hey, you know, the article was great. I misjudged you. And she says, no, don't be sorry, because if you hadn't rejected me, I never would have done any of this. Yeah. So this is the ultimate message: is sexism is good. Because by not believing that pretty women can do things, we make them try even harder to reach new heights. Yeah. She's out somewhere with her little brother, and then Rick just shows up. And she's like, hey, I thought you hated me. And he's like, I just can't stop thinking about your boobs. He doesn't say that, but I think it's funny that they haven't really talked between when she flashed him and now. So he's just been, like, at home going like, I mean, he's my friend, but those boobs. And he's like, you know, I think we should date. Let's go on a date. Yeah. So this is a story about a woman who doesn't want to be judged for being hot. Right. She wants to be loved. Yes. For having amazing boobs. Hell yeah! We got it. I don't know any other movies that have ended that way. Like, that would have been cool if that was the ending of Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello! The past was doing its best.
That's the theme song.
Leave them alone! Leave them alone! Leave them alone. They were doing their best.